जो यहाँ पे रिसर्च के बारे में बताएगा कि एआई में आप रिसर्च कैसे कर सकते हो.
Thanks for the kind introduction. We are running late on time as mentioned by our president, so I'll keep it short. I saw a lot of you dozing off. Trust me, I was too. I just had to get out. So anyway, you can expect to learn a lot of things from this very comprehensive 5-minute speech because they've cut me short. But let's not make a big noise about it and let's dive right in. So a lot of the projects that I've worked on, I always, in hindsight, think of this way, right? It seemed like a good idea at the time because when you really want to reflect on your work, you always factor in one of the biggest things ever, which is what was the time horizon of relevance? Do I look at all of my previous work with pride? Probably not. We've all had our embarrassing work, and can we get to the second slide, please? A little about myself. I recently, at the end of my second year, I interned at Sarvam AI. It is a frontier lab and company based out of India, where the aim is to build foundational models grounded in the diverse reality of India, which is Indic languages. And I was on the text-to-speech team, where we built a state-of-the-art multilingual TTS model. The thread I actively worked on was making sure the TTS model is more human-like. Now, what does being more human-like mean anyway? It would mean capturing things like paralinguistic cues. What are paralinguistic cues? So they would refer to things like, of course, right now I'm speaking. You're able to sort of parse what I'm saying and sort of not. But paralinguistic cues refer to the sounds that I make. It could be a sigh, it could be a cough, it could be a grunt, it could be a moan, it could be anything. So that is a large part of prosody analysis in text-to-speech. I was also on the dubbing team where we built dubbing models for, well, the Prime Minister of India. And we dubbed Man Ki Baat. I think that's like a weekly podcast of sorts. I don't know what that is. But we dubbed that in 13 different Indian languages. And truth be told, that was the only time I cared to tune into Man Ki Baat. I'm sure a lot of you don't really watch it. So coming to the two publications that I've worked on, the first one, as K.S. Madhavan pointed out, it was called Chronocept, where it is basically the unofficial randomized paper, right? So what we did in that paper was we instilled a sense of time in machines. Now, what does that mean, right? If you really think about human cognition, we are programmed to think beyond the 5 defined senses, right? There are 5 different senses, but let's not limit our entire cognitive ability to the 5. One such sense was chronoception, and that is what we worked on. A small example as to how things really worked there. Say I give you a sentence like, I'm going for a walk. You can automatically assume he's going for a walk. It's probably going to take you like an hour or 2. It's not going to take a man 12 hours to walk. So human beings are very intuitively able to assign and gauge these events to timeline. And all of this is via a higher order sense called chronoception. Our favorite president, Vishesh, was a part of that paper as well. And we basically received a lot of commercial validation, not so much academia confirmation, but we're happy with what we got out of it. And the second paper was a slightly more ambitious one, because when you write a pre-training architecture paper, you're sort of setting yourself up for a disaster. And does anyone know what DeepSeek is? Raise your hands. A lot of you know what DeepSeek is. So there was a claim as soon as they went, as soon as they blew up on the internet, that they've built a foundational model for $5 million. Now, again, if you factor out all of the shady things the Chinese do, they might not be lying about this particular thing. So how did they manage to cut costs at that scale? Well, they used an architecture called Mixture of Experts. So the best way to understand Mixture of Experts is to think about what was the trend before Mixture of Experts, right? So imagine a huge model, right? Like 100 billion parameters or something. And if you don't know what parameters are, just think of it like a big brain with like 100 billion neurons or something like that. So every time I prompted, it could be a math prompt, it could be a physics prompt, it could be an English prompt. All of the parameters were called it inference, right? What does inference mean? Well, essentially, when you go to ChatGPT, you type it, you press enter, that is inference. So that is very inefficient because for a very simple query, you were calling the entire model parameter space. So what Mixture of Experts did was it took a step back and really thought about how the brain works, right? Our brain can be thought of as a compartmentalized engine of sorts, right? Maybe this part of the brain is for English, that part of the brain is for math, right? Sort of like that. So very arbitrarily, we make sure we intervene in the parameter space and make sure that we have a set of assigned parameters already. So say I give the same math prompt now after mixture of experts. Instead of the 100 billion parameters being called, we're only calling a fraction of that at inference. So which is why the Chinese might not be lying for once. Now coming to my DeepMind stint, I will be joining Google DeepMind, working on the multimodal side of Gemini right after I graduate, if I graduate. I don't think I'm finishing this degree. Can we move to the next slide, please? Yup. Thank you, Vishesh, for letting me put that in. So, what does RLHF even mean, right? I was talking about research. You might be thinking, ये तो सब कुछ बोल रहा है except research. But this is what I wanted. Because it's very simple to just come up here, explain what logistic regression is, linear regression is, but that is not something I do. So I'll just be talking about the rabbit holes I am pursuing. Alignment happens to be the biggest one of them. So how many of you have heard of Grok and Elon Musk? All of you. Self-plug, but Elon Musk replied to me once. Yeah. So now, there was a time, I don't know how many of you know what Mecha Hitler is. Does anyone know what Mecha Hitler is? All of you Twitter subculture people, oh my god. Yeah, alright. So there was a time just a few days before launch where Grok suddenly decided it's Hitler, right? Now the problem with that is, would you really like talking to Hitler? Don't say yes, thank you. Yeah. So you wouldn't like talking to Hitler anyway. Now the problem that comes is, okay, at the end of the day, it's an LLM, right? Kya hi hoga, tab band kar do, he's talking up too much. Just tab band kar do. But